I was listening to all this conversation around Fantasia and her husband, and I don't know why I decided to jump down this fucking rabbit hole with this man. But shit ain't 100%, at least when I started looking things up. Now, her daddy is a jailbird, and he was a jailbird, right? And as far as I'm concerned, her daddy calling him out, it's a jailbird calling out another jailbird. And I gotta be honest with you, if the jailbird says that another jailbird is grimy, there's a high probability you're right about that. I ain't even gonna hold you. So he ran his mouth talking about how I had a multi-million-dollar business before I met her. So I had to go look that up. Then he says, I was the one who told her I wanted the prenup. Now that don't mean shit to me, because he also stated in his public proposal that they met each other, knew each other for 3 weeks, then decided to get married. That was in about 2014. So you offering her a prenup doesn't mean anything to me. It's like you doing that to me is almost like a tool of manipulation potentially. Now, again, I say this as an individual who doesn't trust anybody. So that's kind of my skeptical mind thinking. You could easily be using that as a tool of manipulation because obviously if she got married to you after 3 weeks, Fantasia did no due diligence into understanding who you were as a person, what was going on and all this other stuff. She liked you, she wanted you, and she got you. That's ultimately what happened. And you know what? I'm not judging. I am judging. But people could do whatever the hell they want. But she obviously did no due diligence looking into you. And the prenup is probably another way of you basically saying, whatever I got going over here, don't look too deeply into it. So then he said he had a multi-million-dollar business. And so I had to go look it up. According to this website, Social Purpose Corrections is a veteran-led nonprofit to correctional and reentry facility culture and management. So this is about them talking to, effectively using people like himself who were probably in the system who are out there doing things, right? So he gave his little bio in which he says after he left jail, he went to work, making minimum wage for a transportation company. Then he started his own company, Courier Logics, LLC. And then that company merged with Metro Transportation Services. And he had a 49% ownership stake in that company. So I was like, well, let me go look up the documents. All of this shit is publicly available. So I went ahead and got rid of his address because I'm not putting that shit out there. Point is, he started this company in, 2009, okay? His company is dissolved in 2013, but before that happens, he gets a notice of grounds for administrative dissolution of his company. Now, he said his company was merged. Your company was not merged. And the reason why was because he wasn't filing the annual reports. So they sent notification that you need to file annual reports or else they are going to dissolve your company. Lo and behold, certificate of administrative dissolution, the Secretary of State dissolved that man's company in 2013 because he never filed the report for 2012. I don't see how you merge in companies when your company just got dissolved and you somehow acquired a 49% stake in another company, Metro Transportation Logistics or Metro Transportation Services. So I look for Metro Transportation Services, another company that was dissolved. We look at their filings. And again, this is just the annual reports. The company was established in 2008 and it looks like they've pretty much filed their annual reports on time. At least when I dug through this, the only people I saw on this was Veronica. I'm not digging through all this other stuff. And the company was dissolved. The articles of dissolution was sent in by Veronica R. Green, who called herself the CEO. And this was in 2017. So then I decide, well, let me just look these people up. Because he said he got, according to his bio on this website, he operated $5 million operating revenue. I have no way to prove if that's true or not. Because again, that's all IRS documentation and we don't have access to that. Again, I can't verify that he owned 49% stake because that's a K-1 document. And again, that's all IRS documentation. So I can't verify any of that. That's all private information. So this is all just him saying that he did something. At any rate, he did say that he had a couple of different write-ups and that he was recognized. So I said, okay, let me go look for his business in Charlotte, in the newspaper, because if this happened, he would be in the newspaper somewhere. So you type in Metro Transportation Services. This was 2006 to 2025. There are 2 different write-ups. He gets one in 2012 in the Charlotte Observer, in which they were talking about a news conference in which they were talking about minority-owned businesses and some type of economic development initiative. And you can see here, for one firm, Metro Transportation Services, the lessons learned so far have been critical. They helped chief executive. He said chief executive. I don't see how you're chief executive with 49% stake of company and Veronica Green saying she's the CEO, but okay. Chief executive Kendall Taylor pursue and land a multi-million-dollar contract, he told the crowd at the chamber. Now, he's saying he secured the contract. It is possible, because again, this is just a transportation courier service. It's entirely possible he did secure that contract. But again, I have no way to prove it, because he doesn't say which business he had a contract with, so I can't look that up to verify any of this. Because again, when I look up his business, Metro Transportation Services, that secured the contract, you're only getting these hits. And this is just an advertisement in 2021, but that doesn't make sense because that company at least was dissolved in 2017. The other write-up he got was in 2014. Again, Charlotte Observer. This was about an award ceremony. And again, it says this year's recipients are Kendall Taylor of Metro Transportation Services, Pride Minority Business Enterprise of Distinction winner. Okay. So he does have the write-ups about his business in the newspaper. But whose name is missing? Why is Veronica Green the CEO? You got 49% stake, but you're the one in the newspaper. I find that strange. I'm sorry, but I do. Again, I can't verify all of his economic information because that's all IRS documentation and paperwork. I don't see any direct linkages to Metro Transportation Services that I can find via the public documentation. The only person's name I see on that document is Veronica Green, because she is the CEO of said LLC, and according to him, she owns 51% of the company. So any documents that get filed, they only require her name to be on them. His name doesn't need to be on this paperwork at all. So there's no way to verify that he had anything to do with his company. Absolutely none. Only thing we know about his company that it was forced to dissolve because he didn't file his annual report. I'm trying to figure out how a nigga who's got a company merging with another company isn't filing annual reports. If there's no evidence of a merger. His company just got dissolved. So all that talk about him merging, that's bullshit. That's not what happened. Now, I would be interested to figure out how he got to 49% ownership of a company, because there's no paperwork to indicate any of that shit. And just so you know, I did my due diligence when it came to Veronica Green, considering that the write-ups was in 2012 to 2014. I limited my dates to that. And I just went ahead and scrolled through to see how many results I could find that had Veronica Green. And I can see Veronica, I can see Green, but I can't see a Veronica Green. Because I imagined that she was the CEO of the company, that she should show up somewhere. But again, I'm not seeing Veronica show up anywhere else. Is Veronica R. Green? The closest I remember seeing was like a Veronica C. Green, I think. That was it. So I don't see Veronica anywhere in here, because I'm just trying to scroll through. You see Green, you see Veronica, but you don't see Veronica Green together, is the point. Let's go R Green. Again, you see R, you see Veronica, you see R, but you're not seeing Veronica R Green. So I'm not doing any more digging. Then you add to it how he was talking about when he got with Fantasia after 3 weeks. He said he noticed her talking to him about how, oh, I can't buy a purse. And then he said, well, he went ahead and he looked through the paperwork. And according to him, he said he saw people steal it. I don't know if that happened. But coincidentally, he's saying that his multi-million-dollar company that he had a 49% stake in, that only got dissolved in 2017, he was saying that people were stealing from him from that company. So apparently Veronica Green was stealing money from the company. This was roughly around the time when they started the Rocksteady, right? Because that's what he said. He was talking to Fantasia. He noticed people were stealing from her. He coincidentally had the same story about his business partners stealing from him. So that kind of explains why both of them are effectively kind of starting over, right? That's why he said they were sitting in the airport eating Jersey Mike's on dates. That's what he said. So they didn't have a ton of money floating around. I don't know how much money he had at all, if he contributed anything to this, but I'm on this nigga's LinkedIn. He started Rock Soul in 2016 because apparently Veronica Green was stealing from him. I don't even know who Veronica Green is. I don't know if Veronica Green stole from him, but that's what he said. His partners were stealing from him. You said you were in you had 49% of the company. Veronica Green's the CEO. So theoretically, she has the 51%, or was there somebody else involved? I didn't see nobody else's name on this paperwork besides Veronica. So Veronica, at least Veronica, and maybe some other person was stealing from his original company. That's why he and Fantasia started Rock Soul in 2016. Now, Veronica didn't dissolve said company until 2017, which again is inside of the timeline. But again, I have no way of figuring out if any of this shit is true. I'm just looking at public data. Bro. Then his Salute First Academy. So I was like, okay, he started that in 2020. So this is 4 years after the fact. Okay, cool, whatever. So he says Salute First LLC. And then I was like, okay, well, what is this? Well, what do? They apparently, same write-up, organization geared towards challenging men, basic call it leadership, There's something called an E1 program. So this looks like his service. So then I look at his program, and it's an online course. It's a developmental course. Apparently he said he partners with schools, correctional institutions, community centers, nonprofit organizations that prevent recidivism. So I don't know. This is his thing. And apparently he has some merch out. Okay. So I'm not sure. So I had to go back just to kind of look through things and verify. So I did find at least one other document where there was another name listed on it. It was a Joseph Green Jr. and Veronica R. Green. I got their addresses blurred out, but it was basically, these were P.O. boxes. So I was like, who the hell is Joseph Green Jr. and who's Veronica Green? Hit in the Google, type in Joseph Green Jr. and Veronica, pop up with this obituary. This is the obituary of Joseph Green Jr. As you can see, he was born in 1942. So that man was 67 when he was listed as a manager on this documentation in 2009. So likely his wife was roughly the same age. And at least based off of some of the other paperwork I've seen that had the addresses do match. So this seems to be the correct Joseph Green Jr. And as you can see, his wife is a Veronica Ross. Now, I don't know how this man is related to these people because they had 2 daughters. Veronica Green and Joseph Green Jr., his business partners, were at least 67 at the time. They were at least 67 at the time where they were apparently taking money from him, before he started the Rock Soul with Fantasia. Bruh, this ain't looking too good. I done seen so many of these goofy, weird niggas put shit in their mama's names, their grandmama's name, their auntie's names, and it's always older people that they do this with. Like, I don't This ain't cool, bro. This ain't cool.